So today we're going to learn about alternate nostril breathing, and in particular I want to answer Ms. AJ's question from Friday about is it important to breathe through the nostrils or not? Because she said, I often hear that, and I'm often instructing to breathe through the nostrils. So I'll give you a couple of the reasons why it is important most of the time, but not always, to breathe through the nostrils. So just on a basic healthy physiological basis, if you're breathing through the nostrils, it warms the air before it gets into the lungs. And that's healthier and better for your lungs to have had that going through the nostrils. It warms better than apparently going through the mouth. I mean, you can even just kind of feel how that feels versus when you go in through the mouth, and you kind of feel that coolness because it's going through all the moisture that's more moist in your mouth. So that's one reason. Another reason is that it also filters any impurities. So it filters out pollens and pollutants as best it can. All those little nose hairs, that they're doing their job to filter things out. In the winter time, one of the reasons we have more colds is because we're actually inside more in these heated environments, and so those germs can linger around more. We're not out in the fresh air, we're not opening windows and getting that air circulating, so germs kind of hang out more. They have that opportunity during the winter time. So again, we filter things through the nose that can also help keep us a little bit healthier. So those are probably a couple of the primary reasons, just on a just general health basis. So right, and breathing, and so the next question we're getting here on the line is, do you have to breathe out of the mouth? So most of the time you also breathe out through the nose. Okay, so there's again a couple reasons for that as well. So we breathe out through the nose. It tends to be a little bit more relaxing and calming. If you are breathing out through the mouth, also the in and out through the mouth, it tends to be a little dehydrating. So if you're always doing mouth breathing, you will get dehydrated. Um, People who do that, or when you have a cold, that's part of that whole thing. You're breathing through your mouth and your throat's getting that drip and it's getting dry, and you have a tendency, because you're producing all the mucus, to be dehydrated anyway, and it's part of that negative cycle. So again, most of the time we want to do both the inhalation and the exhalation through the nose. So the other thing that happens with nostril breathing is you breathe in through the nose, and it comes up here, up near the brain. There's actually, open cavities, like when you see the skull there, and it tends to help to be a little bit on this in a positive way, this stimulating to those prefrontal lobes of the brain. You notice sometimes a dull person just kind of is sitting there tends to be more likely to breathe through the mouth. Some people, it's a challenge to breathe through the mouth because they've got things happening in their nostrils. It makes it harder. So we don't want to make assumptions and jump to conclusions, or they're really stuffed up and congested and so forth. But it really is stimulating to the brain when we can breathe through the nose. And a lot of the yoga breathing practices, we sometimes just kind of try to follow that breath up. And the prefrontal lobes of the brain is where we feel good. Our energy's up here, the dopamine's produced up in those prefrontal lobes of the brain. It's where our higher thinking takes place. It's where we're focused and our concentration takes place. So there's lots of good reasons. So now I'll just briefly say there's a few reasons why you would want to do the mouth breathing. So for example, when it's really hot out, there are some pranayamas, breathing exercises, where you breathe in that coolness and you actually exhale though out through the nose. I think we've done a couple of these, and as it gets hotter, we'll do it again. And then sometimes when you're just trying to just really relax and let go, those sighing breaths that you let out through the mouth, they can be really beneficial and powerful as well. So, so the general rule of thumb is, if you're not instructed otherwise, you want to go ahead and breathe through the nose. Okay, so now we've got, what we're going to do now is learn a technique of how to breathe to keep you warmer or cooler. We had some hot conversations going on in the social media girlfriends chat this morning. And so this is, I'm kind of doing a little play on the words here, but in general, if you need to heat your body, if you need to feel more warmth, if you breathe more through your right nostril, I think I'm reversed here, but hopefully you know you're right from the left. And if you want to cool down, breathe more through your left nostril. If you want to wake up, it's daytime, breathe more through the right nostril. You want to go to sleep, settle down, breathe more through the left nostril. So those are a couple of tips about the nostril breathing. And they also, in general, if you're not sure, well, should I, I'm kind of right in the middle. If you do alternate nostril breathing, you want to eventually, get really centered between the two, is what we ultimately want it to go for. You don't want to do, you can do too much. You can overheat your system. You can damp it down and overcool it. So just, use these practices lightly. However, the alternate nostril breathing we're going to do in just a moment is safe to do all the time because it is balanced. Okay, so we will do that in a moment, and then after the practice, we'll have a little after talk to further answer any other questions and maybe go into the theory a little bit more. But we got a lot in today.